Is the Canon 80D still relevant in 2021? If you're a new YouTuber, you probably don't have the budget for a $4,000 camera. Well, this weekend, my wife and I are taking our daughter up to Lake Arrowhead, where I'm going to completely vlog the entire trip using what you see here. The Canon 80D, the 18 to 135 kit lens, and a budget-friendly shotgun mic. Along the way, I'll be shooting some epic B-roll, including a Tomahawk ribeye steak, and I'll prove to you guys why the Canon 80D is still a budget-friendly camera that you should consider. Here's my review of the Canon 80D. Okay, I'm going to do things a little bit differently this time, and I'm going to try vlogging. As I said in my intro, the rules are I'm only going to be using the Canon 80D, the 18 to 135 stabilized kit lens, and a budget-friendly shotgun mic. So, here's my vlog of our vacation at Lake Arrowhead. Okay, so we're heading up the mountain. We're almost here. Super exciting. Here it is. This is a really cool entrance. Super woodsy. This is pretty cool. Okay, here we go. Oh man, this thing looks cool. Holy cow. It's an A-frame. There it is. This is going to be our home for the weekend. Alright, we're here. So we're on a bit of a vacation, and I figured I'll do this video because I wanted to do a review on the Canon 80D and to show you guys that an older camera is still really relevant in 2021. And I kind of started off with the 80D years and years ago, and obviously, as you guys know, I've upgraded to what was the Canon R5, and then, you know, we got the Sony a7S III. Let me actually show you guys inside, give you guys a tour of where we're staying for our weekend. Let me show you guys inside. So my poor daughter, she's a little car sick right now. I think it's because of the windy road and the higher elevation, so she threw up all over the car. She's feeling a lot better, and unfortunately the windy road up here, she kept throwing up. I managed to take out the bottom floor mats. I have the heavy duty floor mats. So I took those out, I'm gonna give them a wash. She's feeling much better. I think it's just the windy road. I feel really bad for her. We want her to enjoy this, and so far she's like, why are we here, you know? Well, it's time to make dinner, and hopefully tonight gets better. And over here we're cooking dinner. Tonight just doing some chicken breast in direct heat first, and then we can sear them off. It's been a while since I used a gas barbecue, so
definitely get used to this.
Alright, so here's our second day at the cabin at Lake Arrowhead, and the first night was great. I mean, we slept really well. There's absolutely no light at night, so you're in complete darkness, and we got a few stars, and I'm a huge stargazer, so anytime there's stars out, I'm having a good day. We're making some breakfast right now. My wife just made some egg omelets, and I'm grilling a few things here. And then we're gonna go up to the top deck and just enjoy some coffee and enjoy our breakfast. So far this has been a great vacation. Alright, so now let's talk about the Canon 80D. So obviously the biggest selling point of the 80D is the Canon system. It's a crop sensor camera, and there's a bunch of crop sensor lenses. The Canon 80D overall is a good camera. You get the flip out screen. The face detection is pretty good. It doesn't have eye detection, but it has pretty good face detection. Right now it's tracking me and it's keeping me in focus. Compared to mirrorless cameras, it's a fairly large camera, but it's still smaller than a full-size DSLR, right? I think it's very discreet. Setup I have right now looks great. It's only HD 1080p, and it only goes up to 60 frames per second. So you're going to have some slow motion, but you're not going to have that crisp 120. I think it's still plenty. 60 frames per second is still going to give you really good slow motion. We're actually going to do a Tomahawk ribeye tonight, and I'll show you guys some B-roll of the Canon 80D with that cookout, and you'll see that 60p is usually pretty good. I only use 120 when something's really moving fast and I want to capture like really slow motion, or if I'm trying to get a really cinematic, like that slow motion walk kind of look. But most of the time I shoot 60 frames per second because it's just easier to work with in editing. When you shoot 120, most of these new cameras, especially if you're using 4K, the Kodak is just a nightmare and it's really hard to edit. That's another thing with the Canon 80D, 1080p, 60 frames per second. Editing is going to be a breeze, whether you're using Final Cut Pro, Adobe Premiere, DaVinci, whatever it is that you want to use. You're not going to have too much lag, and if you're starting off as a YouTuber, you're not going to have to invest as much as you would with a 4K camera on computers or extra memory, hard drives, and so forth. It's going to get you going. And of course with the Canon 80D, you get the Canon colors. I love the Canon colors. I still prefer the Canon colors over the Sony colors. I think it's because I used to use Canon, and I used Canon for over 10 years. I just got used to it. So you're getting really nice colors. I mean, I'm looking at everything right now. It's perfect. And again, I have everything set on auto. I'm not going to tell the camera what to do. I just want to show you guys how you can just pick this thing up and get going, and then you can tweak it and learn later. In the B-roll tonight with the Tomahawk ribeye, I'll change things to manual, and I'll show you guys the capabilities of this camera. Now another thing to also consider is, if I remember correctly, the base ISO for this camera is 800. Basically the base ISO means the most dynamic range that you're going to get out of that camera. That's your base ISO. That's really where you want to try to keep your images at. For example, the Sony a7S III, the base ISO is 600, which is a little bit lower. The higher the base ISO, the more likely you're going to have to use ND filters to obviously get that dynamic range that you're looking for when you're in a highlight scenario. Right now, I'm not using a ND filter at all. You can see I'm outside. I am adjusting for my face, but you can see that the background's a bit blown out, which is quite normal. Now, if I had an ND filter, I could control that a little bit better, but I am shooting at ISO 800, and my aperture is set at 6.3 because I have to bring all that light down because the sensor is a little high in sensitivity, so I have to reduce the light input. The only way to do that is to mess with my aperture and of course with my shutter speed. I am shooting at 60 frames per second. Typically want to do twice the frame rate that you're doing. So 60 would be 120, the next best thing is 125. And all that's helping me get the shot and a pretty bright day out, right? So that's something to consider. The Sony a7S III is a little bit lower at 600. That's again a good thing because if you put it on auto right now, the camera wants to go down to 100, which is the lowest ISO it can do for this camera. And that might look good on the little screen, but you're not really getting the most out of your dynamic range. So for the Canon 80D, a huge con and limitation would probably be the crop sensor. Because the sensor's so small, you're not getting a lot of light in, and your low light capabilities are kind of
minimal. I tend not to push this camera past 3200 ISO. I think the image just gets too grainy and it's just not usable after that, or at least it's too noticeable. So you really do have to invest in lights, but if you're doing this anyways, even if you have a Sony and it's the low light king, you should invest in sound and lights regardless. And of course you do want some fast lenses. You want to try to get something that will let in more light, and the nice thing about the crop sensor lenses is they're fairly cheap. A very popular lens for almost all crop sensor cameras is the Sigma 18-35, and that lens goes down to 1.8 aperture. The only problem with that lens is it doesn't have any image stabilization, so you really do have to kind of rely on a tripod or a gimbal, but the images are crisp and that focal length is a very cinematic focal length, so I highly recommend the Sigma 18-35. I also think the kit lens is wonderful with the image stabilization. You really do get good image stabilization with the kit lens, which is what I'm using right now. And of course Canon has their pancake lenses for the crop sensors. I think there's a 40, which is a 2.8, and then of course they have their 50, which, you know, everyone should have a 50, and that one's a 1.8, I believe. All of those are going to let in a lot of light, but they don't have any image stabilization. Image stabilization with Canon usually means a premium price tag, but those will get you started. And as long as you're mindful of it, you'll make some really great content.
Coming to get you. Last night at Lake Arrowhead, and I'm going to be making a Tomahawk ribeye stick. This is going to be amazing, and it's going to be the perfect B-roll to show you guys that the Canon 80D is more than capable to get those amazing, creamy cinematic footage and get you started on your YouTube channel. So let's check out the B-roll. last morning at the cabin. Figured I'll do my conclusion of this video outside. Enjoy that mountain air one last time. So this weekend has been great, and I think my wife and my daughter really enjoyed it, which is the most important thing. And then for me, I just got a lot of great relaxation. I was able to charge my batteries and just kind of unwind and just kind of reset. So we're definitely gonna miss this place, and I'm definitely gonna miss waking up to this beautiful, beautiful view, having a morning coffee out here and getting that crisp mountain air. But we're also a bit homesick, so can't wait to get back home. Definitely highly recommend this place. The cabin's well kept. The owners think of everything. The neighborhood's very quiet, very safe. There's really no negatives. I mean, this place was a really good find, and I'm glad we did find it. Honestly guys, this is a great camera if you're just starting off as a YouTuber. It's extremely budget friendly and it shoots amazing videos. As you guys can tell from all my B-roll, everything was shot on this trip with the Canon 80D, and it did a fantastic job. Now of course, the low light capabilities aren't that great and you will be somewhat limited, but you can also kind of work around that by adding some time lapses to your video, which really helps spice up your content and kind of give a unique illustration of the events that you're trying to portray in your videos. That actually allows you to play with your shutter speed and let more light in. Therefore, you can get some pretty cool low light images. For the crop sensor, Canon has so many lenses that you guys can choose from that will help you get that low light capability. Coffee's good. The other thing that I want to mention is photography. The photography part of it is great. I don't shoot as much photography as I used to, but my sister-in-law is a photographer. From time to time, she'll ask to borrow this camera. She seems to like it. It seems to do the job very, very well. You have the megapixels, you have everything that you need. The face tracking is just fine. Of course, you're missing all the new cool features and the bells and whistles that the new cameras offer, like eye detection and all that, but it's still very capable, and that's kind of my point. This camera is still very capable, especially for the money. But I want to show you guys how great this camera is. It's just a run and gun, take it with you and set up and do your best to make good content. And if you're taking your time to get that proper scene exposed, any camera in your hands, it's gonna do just fine. That's it for me guys. I hope you found my review of the Canon 80D informative, and I hope you enjoyed my vlog. Comment below if you'd like to see more vlogs where I do reviews and take you guys on a little adventure. I really enjoyed vlogging and I hope to do more in the future. Until next time guys, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care everybody. Hey everybody, how'd you guys like that last video? Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified on my next video. And if you can, please share with your family and friends. I would really appreciate it. Here's some more content that I think you guys are really gonna enjoy. Check them out. As always guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.